Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Circle of the World podcast, where we discuss Joe Abercrombie's First Law series. I am one of your hosts, Lord Chamberlain Jeffrey, and here are my co-hosts,
Archlector George,
and Harrison, the Adeptus Historical.
We continue our coverage of Best Served Cold, Joe's first standalone, and the next First Law entry after the original trilogy. And on this episode, we review Harvest Time, the old new Captain General, and his plan of attack. So let's get started. As usual, folks, we got to thank you all for your continued support.
Bravo, you have not failed us so far.
Not yet. We hope you
I
enjoy.
don't know, guys. I think June's looking a bit low, Come
on, guys, shit, really?
All right, we'll stop buying the bots again.
Yeah, so you guys can follow us on our social media pages and our YouTube. That'd be great. Other than that, just you being here warms our icy hearts.
Yeah.
So thanks for that. Boys, you want to add anything?
No,
we're good.
All right, so let's move on to our first chapter read-through, which is Harvest Time. And we start this chapter off from the perspective of our boy Shivers. He's out here, he's just chilling on a stoop. Stoop kid never leaves a stoop. And he's just chilling, listening to a bird sing and a man scream bloody murder inside the house that he's outside of. Apparently that's where the wounded are. And he's taking the right approach. He's choosing to do him, to focus on him, and so he's just paying attention to the bird.
Yeah.
He's ignoring
Go off,
the
King.
thing. Yeah. He's living his best life. He's not living for anybody else. And then he does think about I guess his past, where he would cry, right? He wept after losing men, after Dunbreck, with 3 trees and losing half his crew, after the high places, all this stuff. And now he just cannot shed a single tear for anything. He doesn't feel like he can, at least. He remembers those times. He just doesn't know how he doesn't remember how it feels to cry. But then he sees Manza riding up to him, and he's like, "Hey, Chief, yours is wet. Why are you wet?" Basically, she tells him that she killed Faithful Carping. Stabbed him a little bit at first, but then drowned him. Even though she didn't drown him, he drowned himself.
That's right. Go off, King, again. And so Vitari calls them over, right? And she goes, Manza, you might want to see this. And so they walk over to the barn. And when they enter the barn, they see that Day's body is just laying there. And then they go, "Oh, wait a minute. What? Where's Morvier?" Then they realize that Day doesn't have any, wounds, or she didn't get stabbed or anything, so she must have died via poison. Dun, dun, dun. By the way, I guess it makes sort of sense. I mean, in their context and situation, but to see somebody laying there and then another dead, and just to be like, they must be poisoned.
Yeah,
That's kind of funny.
It's a hard kind of life to live, huh?
But I do like what Shiver says. He's like, fucking science, even worse than magic.
Yep, and we'll see. Yep. And then Vitari basically goes, "You know what? I'm out. Bye. I'm not doing this. And Manza's kind of baffled. She goes, "Wait, what do you mean? What do you mean?" And she goes, "Look, Viscerine was too much. And then this is another step. And so with all that, and Morvier apparently doing his own thing, probably mad at us for no reason. I'm out. I am out because."
Yeah, I mean, it's the right call to make.
Yeah, it is.
She's basically thinking, say what you will about Morvier, but if he's gonna start coming after us, nope, yeah. I'm not fucking with that. He's gonna fuck me up.
Yeah.
And this is too deep, too much. People killing each other inside the group. Nope.
Yep. Yeah. And I like how Vitari asked her when they found Day's body. She asked
Monza what happened. And Monza just goes, "Oh, I guess a difference of opinion between the master and apprentice, apparently."
Which is the other reason why she's probably like, nope, I'm out. Because she's like, okay, so Monza's obviously stirring the pot a bit.
Yeah, she must have done something because what the fuck? Those two were attached at the hip.
Yeah.
So
And
that's
I like how it kind of shows how fucking dangerous Morveer actually is. Like, I think at this point we've kind of got to the point where we just think of him as this fucking buffoon because he's, because he is. But Vitari, who's like one of the hardest people in the series, is like, nah, I'm not fucking with him. I'm scared of him.
Yeah,
Yep.
That's quite a lot.
It's a smart move. It's a smart move. But Monza is desperate to keep her, on the team. Look, you said, you're not even halfway there. And Vitari's like, look, it's fine. I'd rather, just not, like she already has to look over her shoulder for Orso, worrying about Orso. She doesn't want to have to add Morveer to the mix. So she's willing to cut her losses. And she's just like, listen, if you kill Orso, then we're all fine. But as of right now, I'm good. And I'm good with halfway. So,
yep.
Monza, at first she's like, oh, well, then, we're only halfway, so half of what we agreed. And Vitari's cool with that. But Monza's still trying to convince her, but Vitari has made up her mind. And so then Monza decides to give her like a little piece of paper, I guess, with the slip on it with like an account number or something. And more than half. She's going to give her more than half of what she agreed. 5,212 scales, actually. And
which is, again, a note of how Monza constantly is paying people. Like, whenever Friendly left, she probably paid him more than what she quote-unquote owed him. Same thing for Vitari. It's interesting that she does this after being such a hard ass all the time.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what's money to her? She's on a quest for vengeance.
I know, but it shows a certain amount of
more money than she could ever need.
Right.
I just mean it shows a certain amount of
generosity to her.
Yeah. A certain amount of. Yeah. Anyways, go ahead.
Well, I suppose it's the easiest way to stop anyone than just going to Orso. If she actually does come through on her side of the bargain and be like, well, here's the money. You can probably live forever on 5,000 scales or whatever. So yeah, it's probably tactful in a way.
Yeah. And Shivers looks at this and he goes, "Fucking banking, even worse than science." That's the second one. And
I love how he is just completely perplexed. Like, how did he fit all that gold into one little piece of paper?
Oh, and the funny thing is that Monza's bank is actually with Valent and Bulk, which is funny as shit.
As far as we know, it's the only bank.
Yeah, you never know. Yeah,
That's
exactly.
True. It probably is the only bank.
Well, I mean, but not really if you think about it, because Vitari looks at the paper, so she probably is like expecting another institution of some sort.
Okay, fair enough.
Still.
Yeah, and then so Vitari kind of is about back, so she's all right. I'm about to head out. She turns around and then fucking Shivers out of nowhere. He goes, "Hey, I fell in the river," and Vitari goes, "What?" And he tells the story about like when he was young and the first time he went raiding. He got drunk and went to go piss, and then he fell in the river. He lost all his clothes. He came back to his crew, all shivers, and that's what they call him, Shivers. And she goes, "What?" Because she had asked him that back in Sapani, and I thought that was nice. And he smiles, and Vitari goes, "All right, that's interesting."
I like how she's like.
She's like, "All right," and then she just leaves.
Doesn't say anything and leaves. Yeah, whatever.
I love that too because she's like. It also shows, like, to a little bit of a degree, like, it's kind of funny, but it's like Shivers in his mind is like, oh yeah, she deserves to know. Like, he's so stuck in his head though that he can't read the room that Vitari never even really cared. She just was giving him a hard time. Like, I don't know. I just think it's interesting. It's a little subtle thing. It's really funny though. Okay.
Yeah, but I think in a way Vitari probably does appreciate it. Just like, all right, cool.
Sure.
And then, but she's not gonna. The moment
show it,
yeah, she's not gonna add too much to it. Don't want to ruin the moment. She just sees it, takes it, and just walks away.
That's
and then, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I'm just gonna continue here, but then it's just like Chivers turns around. It's like, well, Chief, it's just you. And for the third time, fucking Ishri pops out and, like, and me.
And me too,
She
Mario.
loves just popping out of nowhere and scaring people. It's just such a stupid little character quirk for like this super serious, like immortal cannibal assassin. And she just loves spooking people.
Yeah. And she looks at Day's body and she goes, "Ooh, one of your killers killed the other." And then she's looking right at Shivers and she goes, "That's killers for you." And Shivers, he does it in number 3. Fucking magic, even worse than banking.
Yeah.
And we form the a paradox there.
Yeah, because I like how he called back to magic. First one was it fucking science, right? Even worse
Science
than
and
magic.
magic, and then banking and science, and then magic is worse than banking. So
Yeah.
they're
It's
all worse than every other one.
It's a
somehow.
closed loop. So, Monza informs her that Faithful is dead. Ishri's like, "You should celebrate," but she's like, "I don't worry about that." And then, so the point is like now Monza has to go get the 1,000 swords and bring them over to their side because that's what part of the, I guess, the agreement with Ishri was. They're gonna get that Gurkish money. And so that's gonna be the way to convince the 1,000 swords to come fight for them, and then maybe even the odds against Duke Orso, right?
Yep.
Apparently, she did like a little magic trick where she has a big red gold coin in Monza's pocket somehow, and she's like, "There's more to come." The mountains of Gurkul are made of gold, I hear. And then she looks at one of the corners of the barn, and don't forget, the barn, a part of it got exploded. It got caught in that explosion that she set up, and she goes, "I still got it." And then she just disappears. And I like how Shivers goes, can't really put my finger on it, but there's something weird about her.
I love that he's like, I don't know. I think part of this chapter's quirks is like you even mentioned, like he's just doing his own thing. So like he's not really saying anything new out of character, but for some reason, just because of his mindset, it seems different. Like he's almost
Yeah.
out of touch, and also he's like not in touch with anybody's feelings. He's just observing and being like, "Isn't that funny? Ha ha ha!" It's kind of
Yeah. And he notices that Monza's not necessarily like too happy about things. He's thinking about the fact that Casca's dead, Day's dead, Vitari's gone, Friendly's gone, Morvir has left, and now he's turned against them. They lost their little happy family. I mean, at least they all had the same common goal, right? Which is to survive and kill the people they needed to kill. But yeah, he thinks about Dogman and Harding Grim, Tol Duru, Black Dow, even men with a code, and they're all in the past, and he's just alone down here in Styria, where no one had a code that meant anything, and even then, his right eye was about as close to crying as his left. Yeah, but he does note that, well, that's vengeance for you. Doesn't really get you shit, and that's the end of that chapter. Boys, how do you rate it?
I'm gonna give this one a 3. Very short. I like Shivers being he's slowly getting more and more like dissociative and not psychopathic. I think that's a bit too simple, but he's he's slowly kind of separated out from the world and he kind of realizes that he's probably gone through the worst thing he possibly can at this point. So
Yeah, he's
gonna get real weird with it,
Oh yeah.
So yeah, a 3, I reckon.
Okay, Harrison.
I think. I mean, it's really just catching up with what happened and like having a lull moment. I would think I think a 2 and a knuckle for me is that's all I'm going to give this one. I mean, there really isn't much. I mean, I was already grasping at straws saying this is a good mindset check up on Shivers because we already know he's already been in this mindset. It's just like affirming it. Vitari does leave, so that's something, but it doesn't really go into depth because we're not seeing Monza's point of view. So, yeah, I don't think it's just not one of his better chapters, but it has to happen. So,
Yeah, That makes sense. That makes sense. I'm gonna give it a 3 and a knuckle. Not much. I do like appreciate that little moment with Vitari, right? Shivers and her, even though she doesn't. She, I in my head, she appreciates the little background story, and I appreciate that Vitari knows when to call it quits. She's always been like the most sensible out of all of them, and
Yeah.
she's not a brother fucker. She's not a horny poisoner. She's not a clueless northerner. She's not an autistic murder convict. You know what I mean?
I thought you were about to make a poem out of that.
Yeah, and she's just there to do the job. She is a professional in the purest sense of the word. So losing her, it's like, it brings this chapter up a little bit. And I do appreciate Shivers' new, I don't know, Larry David's view of the world kind of thing, where he's just very cynical and shit. And but yeah, so I'll give it a 3 and a knuckle. And that's the scores for the first chapter read through. So let's move on to our next segment, which is best meme of the week. Georgie boy, that's a yo. Take it away.
So last night I noticed that when I went on to top for this week, there was nothing on House of the Moon Maker this week.
Shame.
So I know, shame on you guys, everyone that's listening. Get on House of the Moon Maker and make some more memes, please. So I decided to just go on and make one for the meme of the week this week. So
Well, he was like Thanos. He said, "Fine, I'll do it myself."
exactly, and it's just a callback to the blade itself with the Undertaker meme. It's the bloody nine and the stone shitter, just before he turns his face into paste.
Very true.
But yeah, thank you very much, me.
Yeah, thanks, George, for
Good job,
being
George.
Oh, exactly. I really want to see a better turnout next week, guys. Come on.
Seriously, or else I'm gonna have to, fat shame all of you or meme shame all of you.
Yeah, well, shit on your car or something.
I'll track you down and shit on your car.
No, he'll track you down and shit in your soul. That's what he'll do.
Oh shit.
All right. So we move on to our second chapter read through, which is the old new Captain General. Oh shit, Manza's about to take the homies back under control.
The homies.
So her and Shivers are riding. We're looking at it from her perspective. Her and Shivers are riding towards the Thousand Swords camp. And she can't help but share at Stivers. Specifically, his cock. I mean, his eyes, his face. What? So she's on the left side of Shivers, so she's looking at his eye. And
He can't see her back.
no, yeah, he can't see her back, and so she's just staring at this scar, this mass of flesh, and this little enameled ball of an eye in his fucking socket. And he turned. At first, she thought he was staring at his, like staring down at his saddle. Turns out, when he turned his head to look at her, the fake eye was just staring straight down. So
That's
she goes,
such a gruesome image, isn't it? Like he's got no idea, and he just looks over and it's just like, "What the fuck, bro?"
Yep. And she goes, your face, it slipped again. She goes, oh fuck me. So he fixed it, but now it's like it's staring straight ahead, even though he's looking at her. And he goes, yeah, it's much better, and put a fake smile on. And she said she should feel guilt, right? That she's been the cause of everything. She at least should feel sympathy. She's seen scars. She has scars. But the closest thing she could get is she feels disgust, which is kind of fucked up. But, it's the truth of the matter, I guess.
Especially because it's her fault.
It's what?
Especially because it's her fault.
Yeah, bitch couldn't open her mouth early enough. She could have, instead of saying, let me explain, just explain, bitch. Explain. Just say it right off the bat.
They didn't believe her when she did, remember?
because she's too busy. Because if you go, hold on, wait. Let me explain. It's saying, oh, I'm gonna think of something.
Now,
to tell you.
I am of the opinion that
Immediately,
yes, she feels guilty, and yes, she's got her problems, but it is not her fault that he got his eye burned out.
Rider.
No, I'm
Yeah,
serious.
he
Think about
did
it.
kind of he took the fucking chance. You know, he knew
He
what he
took
was
the
signing
fucking
up
job. He could have left. He chose not to. Why? Because of money? No, because he fucking liked doing it. And he even admits that, but he still chooses to blame her in the meantime because it's easy.
I believe in skirting responsibility for men and blaming it all on women. So,
Oh, that's right, Reddit. We're on to you.
yeah, no, that totally makes sense. It absolutely is true. Yeah, I mean, you take the job. There's going to be pitfalls. There's a chance that you get got.
He's not
Shiver's eye
guilty
got
free,
got. Yeah,
but he got. Yeah.
his eye got. Now, and now. Okay, so I'm sorry, I got distracted by wait a minute, where are we at exactly?
Our
Okay, so-
tomfoolery. Yeah.
tomfoolery. So they write to the camp. She sees a couple guards. She knows them by name because that's what a good captain general does. Knows every man's name. And she, hey, how you doing? How's the cat? How's that leg? How's it going, folks? Or whatever. And they're like, oh my God, it's Mercado. She's alive. Woo woo. And then they walk into.
Yeah, we have to think about this too. I always think about this is how the Thousand Swords, yes, the people on top, the generals, quote unquote, the captains, they all were the ones who incited this and got this started. The guys on the bottom, just the normal mercenaries who got to not only make a fuck ton of money with her, but they also got to feel like badasses and warriors, both without getting it, without hardly, much risk. They all still like her. It's the people on top who are their actual leaders who, incited most of this. I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you got a good point there. I mean, these years of blood are kind of like a long-standing fucking political situation, and it's so fucking petty at the end of the day, isn't it?
Yeah.
Hey, power is all that counts, baby. And
what are you gonna do if you don't win the next election cycle?
you're gonna bitch and cry and storm the Capitol. That's what we're gonna do. Also, before they get to the tent where the they all the generals are, the captains and everything. I do like this little bit where she's riding through the crowd or whatever, through the men, head high, shoulders back, eyes straight ahead, as if she's a better kind of animal than they were. But she does say that she just hopes that they don't actually figure out what they haven't figured out yet, was that she was always afraid to the pit of her stomach.
Mm-hmm.
Because she didn't know what the hell she was doing. That's, she doesn't know what she's doing.
Which also tells you, too, that's the first time she actually, admits that to herself. It openly in her mind, I mean.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think she... Go ahead, George. I'm sorry.
Sorry. She always said that Benna was the one that was good with people. So this is the first time she's doing this without Benna. So I can absolutely see why she suddenly has this new perspective, like, oh my God, what the fuck am I doing? I don't belong here, kind of thing, even though she needs it.
Yeah, and I think in a way Benna was her sounding board, right?
Yeah.
If she probably thought, oh, if Benna likes this, it's a bad thing. But also she can trust Benna because he's much more amiable, personable. He makes jokes, whatever. So he's probably, rubbing shoulders with a bunch of different people. So she's hearing what they're saying because he probably feeds that back to her.
Yeah.
She's just alone now. But she's apparently, she felt like she always didn't know what she was doing. That's pretty cool, that she admitted that. She didn't ask to be the new captain general after they betrayed Casca, right? But that was Benna and Orso. Anyway, so they walk into the tent. And she sees, Andish, Victus, Cesaria, right? Those are the names. The same three that Benna persuaded to make her a captain general, the three who persuaded Carpi to take her place, and the 3 that she needs to persuade to give it back to her. So they, they go, oh, look who it is, the Butcher Caprio, blah, blah, blah. And they go, Faithful Carpy's dead. Fuck. Well, he's a great man. He was a good guy. Too good for the job because you need a little bit of a shitbag to be Captain General.
Yeah. Great guy, though.
Yeah, great guy. And it could be any one of them because they're all shitbags, the 3 of them. But Monza correctly points out that they're too big a set of shits to work for each other, though. And they all agree, yeah, we need someone new. And then Monza goes, or someone old. And then Deesh goes, you know what? We thought the same thing. And Monza goes, okay, great. Now, I'm not the type to let a little bad blood get in the way of good money. And I know that you guys are the same as well. And she throws, she gives them like Ishri's coin. She goes, there'll be plenty more like that to go over to, Duke Rogan. And they're like, fight for Rogan against Orso? We gotta go all the way back to Styria? And they're like, oh my God, we gotta go cross all that ground that we won over the last 8 years. And they go, look. We don't doubt for a moment that when it comes to a fight, you're the best general a man could have, which is high praise, right? High praise. And then Monza goes, okay, so then what's the problem? I don't get it. And Victus goes, we don't want to fight. We want to make fucking money. And then Monza goes, but whoever brought you more money than me? And then she hears a voice in her ear go, ahem. And she turns and looks. And who stands before her? None other than famed soldier of fortune, Nicomo Koska.
What? Did it be, Jeff?
Well, what happened, how he lived was that he shaved off his mustache, apparently. So apparently that's
he has just ruined with his mustache? That's incredible, Jeff.
And it looks like he's been in rehab. Like he's feeling a lot better. Like his rash is gone. Mm-hmm. He's a little bit less scabrous on the top there.
Yep. His eyes are less sunken. His face is no longer sweaty or shaking. He shaved off his mustache and his hair, so he's like grown it out. He's going for a new look. He's going for past alcoholic Vin Diesel. You know what I mean? So. What you were saying,
you could say he's like, he's like the old new Captain General.
Yeah. And he goes, delight to see the both of you doing well. Shivers is like, huh? But Monza's like, what? And he goes, I'm in perfect health. Your concern for my well-being is so touching. And he just walks past, and then they see other people walk in, and they see Friendly walking right behind him. And then Monza's like, Friendly? I thought you were going back to Talons. And he goes, I didn't make it all the way. And she goes, I fucking see that. And so then Koska.
I mean, he barely made it like 500 paces.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, it's Koska.
He counted. It was like 532 or something like that. And then Costco walks up to the Captain General's chair, and he does like a little flourish, a bow, and he sits on the chair. And as soon as his ass touches the cushion, everyone claps like that with 2 fingers on the palm, which is hilarious. Like, Primer Popper, yes. Primer Popper, yes.
Super posh.
Yes. Capital. Yes.
They're like, you're our man, Koska. You're our man.
I was hoping you jump in with that. And so he waves away this like applause. Like, no, it's too much. It's too much. No, I don't deserve it. So, but it's good to be back. And so Monza's confused as to how he's fucking is alive right now. He goes, apparently the wound wasn't so fatal as we all thought it was. The Talonese took me in because I had the uniform of a soldier, and they sent me to an excellent surgeon. So I was about 2 weeks in bed, and then I slipped out of a window. I was in Paranti, and I made contact with Andich, who I figured might want a change in command, and I was correct. and so were all the other fellow generals, and here I am. And so now she's got to. Now Manza's kind of got to like reorient herself, but she's like, all right, I still got to do the plan. The plan changed a little bit, but the end goal is the same, right? She goes,
Yeah.
well, my congratulations, new Captain General. But my offer still stands. Gurkish gold in return for your services to Duke Rogant. And then Casca goes, yeah, problem with that though.
She was so caught off guard too. Like she's just like, she like feels betrayed and all this emotion and glad he's alive and but she recovers pretty quick. She's like, well, I can't. It doesn't matter. I was still gonna ask you the same question.
Yeah. And then Casca, he goes, look, so the problem is I already signed a new engagement with Grand Duke Orso, or really with his heir, Prince Foscar, who sounds like a promising young man. We will be moving against Austria, just as Carpi planned. We're going to be ending the League of Eight. We're going to be taking the fight to the Duke of Delay. So, you know, it was a good plan to why figure out another plan. But Manza she goes, but you hate Orso. And he goes, yes. I hate him entirely. Yes, but I got no problem against his money. It's the same color, it's the same thing as everybody else's. You should know he paid you enough of it. And then she goes, you old cunt. And he goes, look. You really shouldn't talk to me that way because I am a mature 48. And besides, I gave my life for you. And she goes, well, you didn't fucking die. And he goes, well...
That's one of the best lines I've ever heard. I was gonna die for you, but you fucking didn't, so it doesn't count.
Technically, he did give his life. Just it's like
I know, but it's such a good retort, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, well, you didn't, though.
Yeah, but it's like the same thing as like the paradox of a prisoner sentenced to death dies and then comes back to life. Does he get released from prison? And he goes, yeah, well, rumors of my death are often exaggerated, wishful thinking on the part of my many enemies. And she goes, I'm beginning to know how they feel. And it's not like he didn't think he was going to survive. He literally thought he was going to die. Or maybe he knew he wasn't. Maybe he knew it wasn't mortal, but he was like, maybe this is my way out. Casca's smart. He's smart. And he goes, look, a noble death, me? Come on, that's not my thing. I like to have a bottle in my hand and a woman on my cock. I think that's like a Tyrion reference, right?
I think it is, yes.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. And then
something that everyone can aspire to.
Yeah. And so Manza goes,
happy.
Manza's still trying. She goes, look, if it's money we're talking about, and he goes, look, Orso has the full support of Valiant and Balk. There's no deeper pockets anywhere. He's paying better than well. And it's also not about the money, actually. I signed the contract. I gave my solemn word. Manza just stares at him for a little bit. She goes, you're what? When the fuck have you cared? And he goes, I'm a changed man. As he pulls out a flask and starts to drink from it. And he goes, I must admit, I owe it all to you. I put the past behind me and I found my principles again. It's I just got to polish them up a little bit. But you forged a good relationship with Orso, loyalty, honesty, stability. You can't toss all that down, toss all that away. Besides, there's the soldier's first rule to consider, isn't it? Isn't there, boys? And Victus and Andish go, never fight for the losing side in unison, like a bunch of fucking
harems,
yeah. And then, and then Orso holds all the cards. Listen, if you have a good hand of your own, then my ears are always open. But for now, we're good with how we're doing right now. And they all agree. And then Cesaria leans in and whispers in Casca's ear, and he goes, and then Casca reacts. He goes, give them over to Duke Orso. How dare you? Absolutely not. Today is a happy day for everyone, a joyous occasion for one and all. There'll be no killing here, not today. And then he basically shoos Manza away. He goes, don't come back tomorrow, though. We might not be so joyous then. But Manza's not giving up. She walks towards him, and then we hear everybody kind of unsheathe their swords, and Friendly steps up to her, and he goes, look, don't even think about it. And she gets real desperate now, and she goes, I need to kill Orso. And Casca goes, and if you manage it, your brother will live again, right? You'll get your hand back? No? Huh? And then she goes, he deserves what's coming. And Casca goes, look, all of us do. And all of us will get it in the end regardless. And how many others will you suck into your little vortex of slaughter in the meantime? And she goes, but for Benna, he cuts her off. He goes, no, for you. I know you, don't forget. I've stood where you stand now, beaten, betrayed, disgraced, and come out the other side. As long as you have men to kill, you are still Monscaro Mercado, the great and fearsome. Without that, what are you? A lonely cripple with a bloody past. And then she's like, please, Casca, you have to. And he goes, I don't have to do a thing. We're even, remember? More than even, I say.
Mm-hmm.
Out of my sight, snake, before I pack you back off to Duke Orso in a jar. And then he looks at Shivers and he goes, do you need a job, Northman? And then Shivers looks at Monza and Monza goes, oh, fuck. Is he about to leave too? And then he goes, no, I'll stick with the chief I got. And he goes, all right, that's cool. Just be careful of loyalty. Could get you killed. And then Monza's like, she's out of sorts. She is out of sorts. You know, her and Shivers leave the tent. She almost collapses in a way, and Shivers like has to kind of like prop her up. He's like, "Bitch, keep walking. They're gonna kill us if we fucking they see that we're fucking out here collapsing. Get out of here. Let's go." And she's
one time it's really vital that she stays strong and looks strong. That's whenever she starts getting weak because she's a little overwhelmed.
Yep, and then
that's such a good character moment, I think. Like,
it really is.
She's just been absolutely fucking blindsided, and the fact that Shivers does stick around is I feel like it's really touching, you know.
I think it is. Harrison tends to be cynical about this shit. I think it is touching.
I have a reason for it, but I can't talk about it until later. Let's say he's got a little Snape. He's got a little Snape action going on, or not Snape. He's got a little Dumbledore action going on. He's
Dumbledore. Okay.
He's saving it for the right time. I think so. Within his own mind, he may not actually be thinking that, but it's hinted towards, and that's why he's passive aggressive ever since the eye burning.
Well, he's just trying to clap them cheeks. He's trying to hate fuck her. That's all. But anyway,
doesn't happen though, does it?
But Shivers is able to help her back onto the saddle. She's barely functioning. She's like a sack of meat on that saddle, and she goes, she can't even really see. Like she's so like dizzy and she's fucked up. She's basically having a panic attack, I would say. And she goes, look at the great Captain General, Duke Orso's would-be nemesis, sagging in her saddle like dead meat. And she says this, you make yourself too hard, you make yourself brittle too. Crack once, crack all to pieces. And Monza is fucked up. And that's the end of the chapter, boys. How do you rate that?
Man, it's one of those chapters. It's like,
wow, that's a lot. Because a lot happens in it. Like, in terms of, like, Monza's internal thing. It's actually just a progression of what she's already kind of accepted. Which is, she's maybe not cut out for what she thinks she's trying to do. And she doesn't realize that. And the shock she has whenever finding out Casca is immense. It's complex, her feelings are, because she obviously is mad at him because she feels like he abandoned her again, and then that's why she feels like he owes her, but they already said they were even. Casca at the same time is actually doing the fatherly figure thing here, which is basically giving her the hard truths and telling her no, which he's never done to her before, which is even more crippling to her. And it's kind of, in my view, this is like maybe not the peak, but I would say it's the climax of their relationship in terms of what we see here. So I think I'm going to give this one an 8 out of 9 because I think that it's it's a really complex thing that's played out really well. And Joe's really, really good at these things, but this is one of his better moments, I think, in terms of like two characters in conflict that both but they both still love each other. I think it's done really, really well. So,
I'm not going to go quite as high. I want to go for 6 and a knuckle. I didn't feel it as much, but I loved the surprise obviously this is a great twist that Costco
Yeah.
was actually alive the whole time. I love how that is just completely fucking farcical. Like, oh yeah, no, we had the uniforms, didn't we? So, I just went to a military hospital for a month and then I snuck out. And it's like, it's just too easy,
Super easy, barely inconvenience. Yeah.
I think that's very funny, and I think the reunion's great. I love the fact that, like you said, Harrison Costco really just turns around and goes, "Well, no, like, like I'm back. We're gonna do exactly what I say, and you can fuck off."
Yes. Yeah.
For another
as soon as he
thing,
gets an
I
ounce
would
of
love
power.
to- exactly. I would love to see Orso's reaction to this. By the way, like, what? Costco? Like, did we get rid of that guy like 10 years ago? Like, what the fuck?
He's still around?
He's still alive.
I thought he died.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 9 fingers.
Okay.
Nice.
Sequential.
Yeah. Another sequential one. Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. The whole dynamic of like the surprise of Costco returning and friendly in tow, and just and then his, everything he said was from the heart, and
Yep.
it didn't come from a place of hatred. It came from a place of love because he's so hurt by the past. But he's also, in a way, trying to forgive her, but also being like honest with her. Listen, all this vengeance, all this, it does nothing. It's not going to get you anything back. It's not even going to get you in a better spot in your life. The
Yeah.
fuck you doing? And he's not going down with her. And Manza, her whole thing during this book so far has been accomplish this, bring as many people as I need to into this, no matter what it does to them. Because my goal, my achieving this is all that matters. Fuck everything else, fuck everybody else. And now it has been that the ramifications of that have been swung in her face like a baseball bat in the visage of Nakomo Casca. And now she just is into a million pieces. She's just done. Internally, I mean, we still got more of the book and everything, but she's fucked up. Let's just say, boys.
Yes, she is.
I like to see that this the whole revenge going after the 7 people isn't just going to go smoothly, and there's going to be these bumps in the road for Monza. We've still got a good quarter of the book left, and there's only 2 people left to kill, so it's interesting to see where we'll go from here.
Very true. Very true. Very true. So let's move on to our character spot segment. That's our next one. And boys, who are we going to shine a spotlight on for our in memory segment, basically?
In memoriam.
In memoriam.
It is gonna be the corpse we saw, the corpse of Day,
Damn, not Day though.
but not her, just the corpse part.
Just the corpse.
Yeah.
That's
Just the urine soaked corpse, right?
the woman with the girl
obviously
face.
been poisoned. You child-faced fool.
That's hilarious.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
it's I think Day is a character that, like, often gets forgotten about, but like she's also one of his better, like, side characters. Like she fills the role perfectly. She does everything she's supposed to do, in terms of as what a side character is supposed to do. She brings levity, she brings some comparisons, she brings some a definitely unique character. She's the only character we know that loves to eat food.
She loves
And
food.
she's extraordinarily she's actually very clever too. She's just not very wise though. She's still young.
Yeah.
But,
She's very good at her job, very competent. But
I feel like she'd get along with people better, and she was basically, in terms of poisons, almost as competent as Morveer. So I would love to see something where if she did survive, I'd love to see her pop back up in other adventures with other characters. It'd be kind of cool. She would do that. She'd be that character who would pop up, who would fit so well into popping up. I think that's why her death surprised me, because I thought for sure she'd come back around, and then no, she doesn't. She's dead.
yeah,
He hardly knew you.
Day.
I really liked it. I think, especially with Stephen Pacey's performance in the audiobook. The voice is just incredible. The fact that he can talk like that makes it sound like he's got a mouthful of food all the time it just adds so much to it. Like you really feel that she is just constantly eating. You know these people in real life as well that they can just keep eating and eating and eating, and they just never seem to gain any weight ever.
Right.
Which is extremely frustrating for me. But no, I do enjoy Day as a character, and I'm sad that she's gone. Definitely would have seen like
it sucks that she died. It sucks that she died. I wish Morvir would have just shut the fuck up and got out of his head for a little bit and just,
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, they jumped to conclusions, right, with that shit. Didn't take it for a joke, but Morvir needs to be able to read people. Fuck me. Oh,
Yeah.
Day. We will all eat a buttered roll in your memory. Or a plum. Or an apple.
I'm
or
already eating one.
Pastries.
Damn pastries. So good. All right, so we'll move on to our final segment, which is our third chapter read through, and this is where we start part 6. This is Aspria, and it starts off with a quote from Emily Dickinson. I like a look of agony because I know it's true. And we get another little, I guess you could say, flashback or something. So we get another little backstory, little segment. We get these kind of snippets, and we're in Masylia. It's in the middle of being overtaken by the Thousand Swords, and Manza and Benna are walking down the streets, and Manza's like, "Where are you leading me? Like, where are we going, Benna?"
I like that. Mom's just like some hard ass, but it's kind of true though. She's like a hard ass, and she's like, "You gotta be tough." But around Benna, she's like, "Oh my god, Benna, you're so funny."
Yeah,
Wow.
I imagine pre-Fontazarmo, I think Monza was a Valley girl. That's how I imagine her accent, Benna.
With Benna, absolutely.
Why did you want to be at the front? I don't get it. Like, we're generals. We're supposed to be in the back. And then Benna goes, "We're going to go get our money back and interest." And she goes, "Benna?"
Oh my god!
and then they get up. They walk up and they see a Cantic man in simple traveling clothes, next to a cart that's covered with canvas. And Manza didn't know him, but he knew Benna because he came smiling and hugging Benna. And he's like, "Benna, it's good to see you." And he's like, "Yes, you too, my friend. And this is my sister, Monscaro." And the guy bows. He goes, "The famous and the fearsome in honor." And then Benna goes, "This is Somenu Herman, the greatest merchant of Masylia." And then he goes, "No more than a humble trader like any other. There are only a few last things to move. My wife and children have already left." And then Benna goes, "Good, that makes this so much easier." And then Manza kind of frowns at Benna. She goes, "Benna, what's going on?
What voice are you doing now?
Benna." And then Benna snatches her dagger from her belt and stabs Herman in the fucking face.
Oh, he's such a little shit, isn't he? I fucking hate him.
Someone who Herman's like, "Oh yes, my good friend, my trusted dear friend," and Benna has absolutely zero, like, even with a lot of characters in this thing, even the shit ones, they're like,
They have a
"Man,
code.
had to happen, right?" Benna's like, "So what? Fuck you. No hesitation, no mercy."
Evil little shit. Little shit. I mean, the guy was still smiling as he fell down. It's crazy. And then
probably one of the saddest deaths in this book. I'm just like, fuck.
And now Monza's confused. Yo, for real. He was gonna go see his wife and children, and then Monza's now like, "Benna, what the hell have you done? I don't get it."
Oh my god, Benna! You totally killed him.
And then Benna hops up on the car and he opens he removes the cover, and it's a bunch of gold. And she goes, "What the fuck? It's all the gold they could ever have." And Ben is like, "We're rich. We're rich." He's a little shit. And then she goes, "We were already rich. Did you have to kill him?" And then he goes, he stares
And
at
by
her.
the
like,
way, she used as always. He used her as a guise to do something bad. Like
Mhm.
he used her knife.
Yeah. Yeah. And then he goes, "What? So we have to, what, if we rob him and we leave him alive, then he would have told people we had the money. This way we're safe." And she goes, this much gold is the opposite of safe. Benna. And he goes, he gets upset. He's like, "I thought you'd be pleased, you of all people who slaved in the dirt for nothing. This is for us. For us, don't you understand? Mercy and cowardice are the same, Monza. I thought you knew that." And then she goes, she goes, "What could she do? Unstab Herman's face? It seemed the little gold could cost a lot of blood." Yeah, at this point, I'm glad Benna got fucking murked. Fuck him.
Yeah,
yeah.
fuck him.
Fuck
Start to
him.
think this whole revenge thing is, there's not much to it.
Yeah, starting to see like, hey, Monza, maybe
Fuck
you
him.
should have just, I don't know, chilled out. Maybe you should just like go retired somewhere. But no. And then we start off his plan of attack. And we are starting off from the Casca's point of view. Sorry, hold on. Let me start that over.
You're
Now
like still carrying. You're carrying over the accent.
Yeah, I am. I'm trying to like disengage.
The southernmost range of the Uvo Mountains.
So we start off his plan of attack in earnest now, and we start off with the perspective of our boy Casca. He and Foscar, who's now there, he's the crown prince now. Before he was the count, now he's a prince because Ario met his end at Cardati's House of Leisure and Pleasure and all that stuff. They're looking at Austria that is nestled in the Urval Mountains. Apparently, it's looking gorgeous, sweetie. It is slaying in the sunlight.
Killing me,
And
Jeff.
sorry, and then he is Casca's needs a drink. He's like, "Fuck, I need a drink." He goes, maybe we should get some vintages. But right now, Foscar is like talking about how it's beautiful. He has heard stories, but he never seen it, and it is breathtaking. And this city, it's kind of like, I kind of imagine it to be like a smaller, very much smaller Minas Tirith. How it looks, right? Nestled in the mountain,
Yeah.
kind of.
Yeah, I
Like,
would
it's
say
gorgeous,
it's
it's
inside of
pretty.
that.
Yeah, it's
yeah,
pretty.
there's a lot of greenery. There's like a river in front of it. It's in the mountains. It's during springtime. And yeah, it's definitely a sight to behold. But which is interesting because it was built to be a fortress, like a bastion to the barbarians further out in the west or the east. I'm sorry.
Right, it's supposed to be the outermost, like easternmost point for the what was it, the New Empire?
Yes.
To hold back the Baelish hordes. Baelish.
Baelish, yeah.
I think it's Baelish, yeah.
Yeah, and Foscar is like, man, it's kind of like almost a shame to destroy it with fire and sword. Casca goes, that yes, but it's war, and those are that's what we got to do. And Casca notes in his mind's eye that he had heard that Foscar was boyish, callow, weak-nerved, and therefore he was pleasantly surprised and impressed. He's young, but every man starts young, and he seemed thoughtful rather than weak, sober rather than bloodless, polite rather than limp. A young man, very much like Casca himself had been at that age. Only the absolute
The
reverse
exact opposite.
in every particular place. Yeah.
Oh, I love that line. That's such a good way of just turning it around.
But I do
Because
like
he's just like so like dishonest with himself. It's so stupid.
but I do like that he's like observing Foscar's qualities. That's cool. And
Yeah, because he's actually like Not in a complete haze. He's actually using his
Yeah.
brain.
Yeah. And so that's where he talks about the history of Osprey, you know, the 500 years, more than that, Baelish hordes, New Empire, all that. And Foskar goes, wouldn't he just like retreat behind these walls? He doesn't need to give battle. But he's like, no, he has to give battle because if not, they'll just starve him out. And so he's desperate. And they outnumber him 3-1 or more. And the walls are only useful if somebody expects help. And there is no more help for him to come for him.
Mm.
And so Foskar does. He goes, well, I must confess, I have some concerns. I had I understood that you hated my father with a passion, and I wonder where this hate came from, because it must have came from before the whole betrayal.
I feel like Oscar is this kind of person that doesn't need much of an excuse to hate people. He's just like, oh, I hate that guy, and then that's it.
Maybe. But he goes, look, as a young man, I let my passion lead me by the nose, but I have learned numerous harsh lessons that favor a cool head. We have had our disagreements, but I am above all else a mercenary. To let my personal feelings reduce the weight of my purse would be an act of criminal unprofessionalism.
I love that it's like about money rather than the other way around. To let money sway.
Yeah. And then he goes, look, my own 3 closest captains betrayed me utterly and put Mercado in my chair. They fucked me to their balls, as they say in Sapani. To their balls, your highness. Which is a wild thing to say to a royal person.
I love the idea that like Casca's up in his face. Like he's like really close to him. He's like, to the balls, your highness.
And then he goes, if I had a taste for vengeance, it would be on these 3 heaps of human shit. But we can all be useful to each other. And so I have forgiven them everything, and your father too. Vengeance brings no man a brighter tomorrow, and when placed on the scales of life, does not outweigh a single scale. You need not worry on that score, Prince Foskar. I am all business, bought and paid for, and entirely your man. Foskar goes, you are generosity itself.
That's not what he said. He said, you're my man.
Oh man. He goes, no, I am avarice itself, but it will do in the pinch. Now, would any of you gentlemen care for a drink? We came by a crate of some very fine vintage of wines yesterday. And then somebody comes in, he goes, it might be best if we were to discuss our strategy before the levity begins. And this is Colonel Rigrat. I'm sorry,
I forgot about this guy.
That name throws me off all the time, Rigrat. It sounds wrong in so many ways. So he was General Gammark's second in command, and now he's Foskar's second in command. Apparently, the plan is to cross these 2 fords, like they're going over it. There's an upper ford and the lower ford across the Solva River. The lower is much the wider and more reliable crossing, but the upper, a mile upstream, is also usable this time of year. And then... And then Koskar goes, yes, 2 forwards. Yes, we all know that. And he, drinks from his flask again. And Rigrat's like, I thought we said we were going to drink after. He goes, look, nothing like a drink, in the evening. And so they continue talking about it. And he goes, the day after tomorrow at dawn, you will lead the 1,000 swords across the lower ford. And Koskar goes, lead from the front? What do you mean? And then he goes, where else would a commander lead from? And Koska, he looks confused. He looks at Indy. She goes, anywhere else? Have you ever been at the front of the battle? The chances of being killed there are really very high.
Extremely high. That's what Victor sounds like in the audiobook.
Yeah. So Rigrat's lead from whatever position pleases you, but the fucking 1,000 swords will cross the lower ford, supported by our allies from Etrusani and Sazali. Duke Rogant will have no choice but to engage with you with all his power, hoping to crush your forces. And then once he's committed, our Talinese regulars will break from hiding and cross the upper ford. We take the enemy in the flank, and he, slaps his hand with his baton. And Kaka goes, "You'll hit him with the stick." And he goes, "With steel, sir, with steel, we will rout them utterly." And then Casca goes, there's like a long pause. And Casca goes, And then everyone's going,
Yeah, like Andy, Shazar, and that they're all just going, like one at a time. I just gotta say as well, I love this fucking Colonel Rugrat or whatever. I miss this kind of character from the first trilogy, like the really pompous, like kind of military like officer. And he just doesn't really know what he's talking about. When it's just like, like what's his face, like Lord Smund. It's like I feel like that's this. This is this book's Lord Smund.
I do like this
Maybe a
guy.
little bit more competent.
Yeah, because his plan is sound. It's a good plan, actually. But even as the audience, we don't want to really hear it because it just is coming from somebody like Lord Smund or like.
Yeah.
And I love that Casca plays. He's like playing Foscar like a fiddle. He's just like and then Foscar's like, "What do you think, Casca?" And they all go, like comically. And then he goes, "You don't approve?"
And then he goes, I somehow let slip my misgivings, then I cannot in good conscience suppress them. He tells him that he's not convinced that the Thousand Swords are well suited to the task they have assigned them. And Rigrat goes, they're all quiet and they're just like, have you not been paid well for your services? He goes, of course, and the Thousand Swords will fight. You may depend on that. But it is how they are made to fight best that concerns me. They have lost 2 leaders in a brief space of time, Mercado and then Faithful, and they're like, oh. Their morale is very low. Apparently, they have been paid, but money is never the best motivation for a man to risk his life. To throw
which
them into
which is why they're all there.
To throw them into a pitched melee against a stubborn and desperate enemy, toe to toe. I'm not saying they might break, but they might break. And then he goes, I hope this is not an example of your notorious reluctance to fight, Regret says. He goes, reluctance to fight? Ask anyone. I am a tiger. He goes, this is a question of picking the right tool for the task. One does not employ a rapier to cut down a stubborn tree. One employs an axe, unless one is a complete ass. The plan is sound and outlined. As a one military man to another, I congratulate you upon it undoubtedly. But it would be wiser counsel for your regular Talanese troops, tried and tested recently in Visserine, then Peranti, the use of victory with the firmest morale to cross the lower ford and engage the Austrians, supported by your allies of Etrusani and Cesali, and so forth. And then the Thousand Swords will be far better deployed, concealed upon the high ground, waiting to seize the moment, to drive across the upper ford with dash and vigor and take the enemy in the rear. And thus your earthly courage and our fiery passion are best used where they are best suited. Songs will be sung, all the stuff, and then Orso will be king, and yourself, your highness, will be king as well in due course. Frostcar goes, yes, I see. See, the thing is, though, and the Casca just interrupts me and goes, then we are agreed. Was it Stolikits who said great men march often in the same direction? I believe it was. Let us march now towards dinner, my friends. I swear I am so hungry I could eat a city. And that's where we end the chapter.
Oh my god.
I don't know about you boys, but something is afoot. What would you rate it?
I love how this immediately follows the betrayal, so to speak. Oh no, this is the worst thing ever. Like, oh no, the Thousand Swords are still fighting for Orso, and Monza's plan is doomed. And then immediately this whole subterfuge, Costco just being a bit sneaky. We don't know what he's doing, but he's up to something. I reckon I'm gonna give this one a 6. Again,
Okay.
short. It's funny. It really does all take place in front of this one tent. I love Koska taking the piss out of this like pompous fucking military officer. I missed that.
Yeah.
What about you guys?
Well, since I reckon you guys have already been able to discern my opinion of this.
You cannot in good conscience suppress it.
I cannot in good conscience suppress my innermost feelings, apparently. I think that this one is a solid 7 out of 9. I think this is like Pete Koska. Like, this is how he was all the time. Non-stop playing games, knowing how to completely swine people out of whatever it is they are. This is him, this is him peak. And it is hilarious and clever and unique. And I think it's really well done. But it is just them talking. I do like the little strategy, them talking about where everything is. I like the history bits, too, talking about Austria. So that's what I'm going to score it at.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 7 as well. I really enjoyed this chapter. It's just, like you said, Koska at his best, right? Like what we remember from the Koska and Last Argument of Kings, just how he's like a swashbuckling mercenary, full of vim and vigor and all this stuff. And yeah, it's great. And we get to see Foskar. Okay, we got him into the picture now. Not smart of Orso to send his only surviving son into battle, but hey, whatever. I guess do you, boo? But yeah, and then obviously with Koska being like the way he is, oh, we shouldn't fight like that. No, we should fight like this, like that. Like that's got to lead somewhere. So, but enjoy the chapter. So 7 out of 9 for me. And
okay,
that'll be it. That's our show, everyone. We want to thank you all for listening and supporting this podcast. As you know, this is a passion project for the three of us, and your support really does mean a lot.
Join us next week as we cover politics and no more delays.
And make sure you follow us on all of our social media, and we have a website at circleoftheworld.com.
And if you haven't already, please subscribe to our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts from. And please make sure to rate and review this podcast. Thank you all again for listening.
Hmm. Damn it, George, why did you laugh?